I'm waiting so I can go live on Instagram and then I'll be right with you guys. There we go. Okay, all set. Happy Friday, everybody. We are gearing up for the weekend and for whatever next week is going to hold. It seems like some days it might hold some snow for us and some days maybe not. So we're gearing up for that. We are getting in more paw thaw. There have been some questions about that. We just have a little bit of paw thaw left here at Battleground. It's almost sold out, I think. But we will be getting more, and it should be in next Tuesday, and hopefully in time for any potential weather that we might be getting next week. Okay, so today I wanted to cover a topic that really we all focus on in January, humans included, is considering weight loss and kind of making goals and goals for yourself and goals for your pets. Pet obesity is unfortunately a huge health issue. Over half of our domesticated animals are considered obese. More cats than dogs, but still, that is a big health issue. It leads to cardiovascular health issues, joint pain. It can increase arthritis. If you have dachshunds like I do, it can lead to more back issues and issues with IBDD. So we really encourage really focusing on your pet's weight loss. And if you are going to start a journey for your pet for weight loss, I will tell you we do have a scale here at our Battleground location, and you can bring your pet in and weigh them anytime you want to help measure their weight loss. But it is definitely a good place to focus for your pet to increase their overall health. The number one mistake that people make is not considering how much they're feeding their pet. I have a friend in town, and he called me and was telling me all about his doodle and how he took his doodle to the vet, and his doodle was supposed to be about 75 pounds and was 90 pounds, and he wanted to know why. And I said, well, how much are you feeding your dog? And he said, well, I don't know. I just have a glass, and I just scoop the food and pour it in his bowl. So, well, how much is that? Well, I don't know. So, well, you need to know because you need to be making sure you're not overfeeding your pet. As a general rule of thumb, I say a quarter cup per 10 pounds of body weight twice a day is just a very basic rule of thumb. And if you are a little dog and you're supposed to get a quarter cup, when you are feeding them, you should be measuring it, and you should be making sure that the measuring cup is flattened off. It's not rounded. We're not talking about, throwing in a little extra because the bowl looks empty. You definitely need to make sure that you are feeding the measured amount. Because if you're feeding a rounded cup for a little dog, say that this is actually a cup, but for a little dog, if you were to feed them a rounded portion of this, you could be feeding them twice as many calories as they need to be getting. That is both, and it adds to your pet's waistline, but the other thing is it's going to be adding to your budget. You're going to be feeding them food that nutritionally they do not need, all those extra calories. So you can actually save on the pet food you're buying by not overfeeding your pet. So that's the number one recommendation, is to make sure you measure your pet's food. Make sure that you're giving them the proper amount for their size. Again, a good rule of thumb to start with is a quarter cup per 10 pounds of body weight, and that's twice a day. So I have little dogs, and they're all under right around 10 pounds or just slightly over. So I would be giving them about a half a cup of food a day, I split mine between two meals. The other thing I would say is do not free feed. I know some dogs do that and do that successfully, but as a rule of thumb, it's probably better to not be doing that, especially if you have multiple animals, so that you can make sure each pet is getting what they need. I know in my house I can't free feed. My dogs would gobble everybody else's food up. There's no food left after about 5 seconds when it hits their bowl. So make sure you are measuring. The other thing I would tell you is to make sure you're including all of the other extra calories they get. So we give treats. We like to give them all those yummy things like bully sticks and collagen sticks and Himalayan chews and all of those kind of things. And the larger the dog, the more you can kind of accommodate for those things in their diet. But if you need a lower calorie treat, these From Crunchios are really good. They're 2 kcals per treat, and they really are a nice little size. That's not the actual size. There's a little window on the side. You can see. These are 2 kcals, so they're nice low calorie treat. If your pet wants something to crunch, I know a lot of people have trained their pets going outside potty. They need a treat when they come back in. That's a great way to still give them a reward, but not as many calories. So pay attention to the treats you give. Make sure that the treats you give are not adding to their waistline. The other thing you can give, fresh blueberries, you can give strawberries, bites of apple. You can even give fresh carrots. That's definitely possible too. All of those things that you've got to consider do turn to sugar. So again, a good thing to add, and they're nice and healthy. They're probably healthier than, some of the other treats, but just consider those. They're a part of their diet and they're part of their calorie intake. So when you are feeding your pet, the other thing I would recommend, you can add in frozen green beans defrosted to room temperature. The reason we say frozen green beans is because canned green beans contain sodium. Even the low sodium kind still contains sodium. And so it's best if you avoid that by giving fresh or frozen green beans and add them to your pet's bowl. You can replace up to a quarter of the kibble that they're supposed to be getting. So they're supposed to be getting a cup of kibble a day. You can give them 3/4 of a cup and replace that quarter cup with green beans. That will add the fiber and the fill so that they don't feel like they're starving, but take away the calories so that they can start losing that weight. Another great weight loss supplement is pumpkin, and this is Fruitables. This is specifically designed for weight loss. And so it is low calorie and high fiber to really help get rid of that extra weight. We also have pumpkin that we love from our friends at OC Raw. We have this in freeze dried and in the frozen section. But again, you can do pumpkin the same way you do green beans. You can replace up to a quarter of the kibble with the pumpkin or the green beans to help remove the high calorie and replace it with low calorie, high fiber, and get that weight off. The other thing I would tell you, I don't usually recommend weight management food because one of the things that they frequently do in weight management food is take away the protein being first, and they add a lot of carbohydrates, and that's not really going to get rid of the weight. I mean, just think about if you went to a diet where all you ate was bread and carbohydrates, bread and pasta and all those kind of things. I think it's going to pack the pounds more than it's going to subtract the pounds. But one of the weight managements we found that really does work is Farmina Weight Management. And this is their lamb and quinoa. And it's very high in fiber. It's lamb, dehydrated lamb, pea starch, pea fiber, quinoa seed, chicken fat, flaxseed, dehydrated herring oil, but it has broccoli, asparagus. So it's a little bit higher in fiber, which is what helps with the weight loss. I was trying to find, there we go. The protein's 28%, the fat is 8%, and the fiber is 8.2%. So this is a weight loss diet that if you're really looking for a weight loss diet for your dog, this works really well. They also have a weight management for cats. In dry, they also have it, both of them have it in wet, dog and cat, for Farmina. For cat weight loss specifically, one of the things that I would tell you, it is pretty common for people who are feeding cats to put a bowl out and just keep filling it every time their cat meows. And that doesn't measure their intake and can lend itself to them being obese. The other thing with cats is they really lack the ability to digest carbohydrates. And so the best thing to get weight off of a cat is to transition them to as much a wet diet as you can. So get as close to 100% a wet diet, canned diet, raw diet, freeze-dried, rehydrated diet, but with heavy moisture and very, very low to no carbs. And that will take the weight off for your sweet little kitty cats, as long as there's no other pre-existing health conditions. I will tell you that more domesticated cats are overweight than dogs. And that does tend to be because of the dry food that we feed them has carbohydrates in it and can lend itself to causing more weight issues for cats. So for your kitty cats, measure their intake. If you do need to give them crunchy food because they're addicted, just give them a little bit in the morning and a little bit at night, and then give them plenty of wet food. And for wet food, I'd recommend 1 ounce per pound of body weight for kitty cats. So if you have a 12-pound cat, 2 5.5-ounce cat cans a day would be perfect for their intake. But consider those treats, consider your measurements, come in and get them weighed. But I would say the biggest places people fail is they don't add in the treats that they give. Think, well, I'm giving weight management food, but I'm giving 3 bully sticks a day. Well, those bully sticks are the problem. Those bully sticks are what's adding the weight. So consider how much you're giving, when you're giving it, and what you're giving. And be careful and conscious of those things. And while you're doing the weight loss journey, you can definitely back them out and not give them for a little while, and then return them as an occasional treat once you get to an ideal weight. So there you go. We do have these All Pets Considered measuring cups and scoops. If you do them down like this, they're a quarter cup. You do them like this, they're a full cup. And they are nice because they have the clip on them, so you can keep them clipped to the bag that's in your air-sealed container, because we all know not to pour those bags of food into the plastic container. You want to put the bag down into the container and seal it up with this so that it can stay as airtight as possible. Okay, well, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and keep posted to our social media. Nicole's going to be posting some more events that we have coming up in February that are going to be so much fun, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend.